I was always the top of the class
Wow.
most of the times, and if I wasn't the top of the class, I was somewhere close to the top. From nursery school to primary school to secondary school, I remember that. Hello, guys, and welcome to another wonderful session with yours truly, the Chiman. Today I'm going to be doing an unscripted session. It's going to be a bit of a storytelling, but I'm sharing this story, and I'm going to be very vulnerable. But I'm sharing this story because it holds a vital lesson that I believe, if you explore, would uncover greater productivity and more liberty for you in your life goals and pursuits. So that's how I'm going to do the session today. Like I said, it's going to be a bit of a storytelling. So I'll give a bit of background. I'll give some background to the story. I grew up, my father is an amazing, a very brilliant man. And I think from what we were told growing up, my father was the first chartered accountant from our area at the time, very brilliant man. And so we grew up with my father in his best way, trying to instill a culture of being our best in what we do. And I remember that growing up, there was this quotes or recitation or pledge, as it whatever you call it, that my father always said to me, especially, and it goes thus: this organization does not tolerate failure. It was his way of trying to inspire me to succeed, to always be the best I can be, to do my best, to be the top of the class, to be the best version of myself. However, I had unintended consequences because I grew up being afraid of failure. Now, bear that in mind, and I'm going to tell you another story about myself, my academic career. For those of you who know me from childhood, especially those who know me from nursery, primary school education, I was always the top of the class most of the times, and if I wasn't the top of the class, I was somewhere close to the top. From nursery school to primary school to secondary school, I remember that when I got into secondary school, my first term GS1, I was fourth in class. I wasn't very pleased with myself, and from second term GS1 till the end of junior secondary, I was the top of the class. Got into senior secondary, my arm in our set was the most competitive to me, to my mind, and I think the numbers back it up. For those of you who will be watching this, I think the numbers back it up. So shout out to all FGC Akigwe alumni members, set of 2008. Shout out to you guys. Now, I share these not to highlight past glories, but it's very vital in the story I'm telling. Because if you understand that I was one of the best, one of the brightest students in my sets, respectfully speaking, then what I'm about to say will make more sense to you, right? By the time I got to SS3 in school while we're preparing for WAEC, I made the decision that, in retrospect, looking back, was made from the place of my apprehension and fear of failure. You see, I was, like I said, one of the best students in my sets, and in my school at the time, by the time you get to, I think, SS2, SS3, you either had to choose. You had to choose between further maths and economics. You either was doing further maths or you were doing economics, in preparation for WAEC. Now, although I had been representing my school in mathematics competitions, Olympiads, in my SS1, I was part of the team that represented our school in the state level. I think I came fifth in the whole of Imo State at the time. Of course, I didn't make it to the final because only the top three were to go to the final. And so that was how good I was in maths. I mean, by my SS2 first term, I think I had covered new general mathematics from SS1 to SS3. However, I avoided statistics. I didn't like it. It was too much of a struggle for me. I didn't want anything I wasn't so sure of, so I avoided it in WAEC. But that's not the gist. Now, as good as I was in mathematics, further maths posed a different kind of challenge for me. I struggled with a bit of further maths. And I remember that in my SS1 third term, in our further maths exam, I sat beside the lady that eventually became the head girl in Asetoka Maka. Shout out to you if you watch this. And I remember that in that exam, for the first 30 minutes, I was lost. I didn't know what to write. And I usually am not the kind of person that asks questions in exam also. And she was sitting beside me writing. She ended up coming first that term, I think. Was that SS1 third term or SS2 first term? I can't remember. She ended up coming first. And she beat me because there was a wide margin between her score and further maths and mine. Pay me. Anyways, so because of that, I knew I wasn't going to take further maths in WAEC. I avoided it because I didn't want anything. I wasn't sure of making an A or a B in my WAEC. Now, here's the catch. That meant I had to take, if I wasn't going to take further maths, I would take economics. But then economics was posing its own kind of challenge for me. I mean, I had the highest score in economics in my class in SS2. Yeah, SS2 second term were there, but I can't remember now. I can't remember those details. But I wasn't sure of doing well in economics and WAEC, so I dropped both of them for WAEC. So while most other people took 9 subjects for WAEC, I took only 8 subjects because I didn't want anything that I wasn't sure of making an A or a B. Worked out well for me at the time. I had A's and B's in my WAEC, no C's. But it came to haunt me later, not just in academics, right? But the habits and attitude I had formed towards failure affected me in the later phases of life, because every time I was faced with an opportunity to explore something new, to try an opportunity, to reach out for more or something, if I was too scared that I was going to fail, I would back out. So I grew a habit of backing out from things I wasn't confident of doing well in, or areas I didn't think I had competence in. It took me consciously having to work through that, of course, by the help of the mentoring I underwent under Tekena Ikoko, Mode Africa, and all of that. I began to rewire my mindset around a lot of things in my life, including my approach and attitude towards opportunities that I wasn't so sure of, or I didn't have all the competence in. Now, why do I share this? What was meant to inspire me, to inspire hope and courage in me, inspired fear, and why do I share this? It goes to the heart of the question I'm asking today: why are you running? I know a lot of us will laugh at this. We know that meme, that very popular meme. Why are you running? Yeah, but why are you running? Why are you running? Let me shed more light on this. At the foundation of everything that we do, there are 2 primal motivations. One is that we are running away from something, we are avoiding something. If we are not avoiding something, then it is that we are running towards something. And for a lot of us, there seems to be no difference between these 2. But if you look closely, there is a vital difference. And the difference, I think the best way I can share that in this moment, like I said, this is unscripted. So off my head, I would give you this parable off my head. Remember, you heard it here first. Imagine you were walking in the night. Imagine that you were walking in the night on a lonely path, on a path you were not very familiar with, and you turn your back and see 2 eyes glaring at you. A wolf or a lion. Or at least that's what you thought it was. And in panic, you start running. Now, because your focus is on running away from the wolf, remember, you're not very familiar with this path. What is the likely thing? The likely thing is that for every few steps you take, you turn back to see if the wolf is catching up with you or if you're running far from it. So your focus is on what you're running away from. And while that is serving you in that moment, there is the underlying threat of you running into a greater threat, because of course you don't know where you're running to, and your focus in that moment is not exactly knowing where you're running to. It's running away from the danger. So you could run into a road and get hit by a car because your focus is on what you're running away from. You could run into a ditch, break your leg, fall to your death. You could run into a water body and get eaten by a crocodile. The primary thing you're focused on is what you're running away from, not where you're running to. And so your purpose or your focus doesn't put into consideration the dangers you may be running into, right? Now, if you were on a path that you knew so well, or let's say there's a race, there's a starting point and an ending point, and you were told you could explore any options to get there. The most important thing is that whoever gets there first wins the race. And this was within the neighborhood. Let's say you're running from point A to point B within a neighborhood you're familiar with. You know the nooks and crannies and all of that. What's the most likely outcome? Because you know the nooks and crannies and you know where you're going, your focus is getting there quickest, fastest. So you would explore options that serve your getting to that goal quickest. So you take routes that you know, the nooks and crannies that will get you there faster, because your focus is on where you're going. Now, why this difference is important is that if we apply it to our lives, oftentimes the motivation behind some things that we do, some things that we pursue, some actions that we take, some goals that we set, even long-term goals, could be harming us. Now, at the beginning of that goal setting, or at the moment of prompting for that goal or vision or whatever it is, it could serve you. Maybe someone told you never amount to something good. Or maybe someone told you people like you can never be lawyers, or people like you can never be a doctor. And so you decide to prove them wrong and decide to go into the medical field. Or maybe, like a friend of mine who I had a conversation with some days back, I think over a week now, I think he may watch this. Maybe because of a trauma from the past, you've made a decision, a binding decision concerning your life, concerning certain aspects of your life. And so the reason you're choosing this path is not because of the productivity it holds for you in the future, but because of an avoidance of a repeat of the trauma from your past. What that means is that you may never get fulfillment from that goal because your focus is on avoiding something, pain, hurt from the past. And so it holds no meaningful value for you in the bigger picture, as it were. So you may get to the end point and realize maybe this was not what I wanted. Or you never gave room to think about what you wanted because you were too busy thinking about what you did not want. So again, I ask, why are you running? Why have you set that goal? Why have you chosen that path? Why have you embarked on that vision? Why have you set up that business? Why have you entered that relationship or gotten out of that relationship? Why have you chosen this career path? Is it because of something you're running away from your past? Is it because of something you're trying to avoid from your past? Or is it even because of a point you're trying to prove from people from your past? Or is it because of a beautiful vision and dream ahead? Is it because of the possibilities that lie ahead? Is it because of a worthy cause ahead? Is it because of something beautiful that you can create tomorrow? The reason why this question is important for you is, if all your life you spend it running away from your past, you may never get to the future you want, because you don't even know the future you want. So I ask again, why are you running? Clarify that for yourself today and choose to take action, set goals, build visions that are empowering you towards your utmost self, towards the best visions of you, from a place of core identity, from an empowering place of identity, not from a place of avoidance of trauma from the past, not from a place of trying to prove. Don't live your life trying to prove a point to people. Live your life trying to build a beautiful dream, trying to create art, trying to make beauty out of the vast possibilities that the world holds for you. The world is for you. The world is not against you. And your life is worth more than trying to run away from your past and not paying attention to your tomorrow. I hope this inspires a hopeful question that sends you on a path of clarity and helps you to build a much better, more beautiful life for yourself, for those around you, and for the world at large. I'll be cheering on for you. Have a wonderful match. See you next time. And don't forget to like this video if it was helpful. If it was helpful to you, sorry. Don't forget to share with your friends and colleagues who need this. And don't forget to subscribe. I need it. Subscribe. Thank you. See you next time.